All right, we are live. We got Mr. Jason Samko, the resident man of many. Man, you wear a lot of hats. You do a lot of things. You're seriously, it's incredible. If people knew you, they could write a lot of books about you.
It's, we like to be busy, but I mean, on the flip side, look at you with that kind of stuff. We've known each other, 20 years now?
Yep.
It's got to be about pretty close to 20 years. But,
yep.
Look at all the things that you're into, all the things that you do. Matter of fact, for people that don't know, this sums up Barry better than anything else in the world. I shot his wedding. Back in the day when we met, I shot his wedding. And his best man at his wedding during his best man speech said, "Cheers to Barry, the only person in the world that has read the whole internet cover to cover twice."
It's funny you remember that.
I'll never forget it, man, because I was like, that is so him. That is so him. You research everything. You deep dive into everything. You don't, I could ask question for you. In the RAM, you flip up the console in the RAM, and they got all these digital the
cosine, all your trigonometry.
What year did they put them in there?
2019.
See that stuff. Nobody should know that stuff. But again, Barry knows it all.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep.
I didn't know you were going to ask that, for anyone wondering.
No, but I knew you would know it because all the little weird, everything like that. Like I said, you deep dive everything you get into, dude.
You know what's funny though? It's that nerdy little stuff that Ram put back there, and even actually Ford does some stuff like that on the F-150 on the tailgate. You got the measuring stick. So if say you go fishing or things of that nature, there's a lot of valuable things construction site. But I kind of like that stuff because it's cool as those manufacturers can do stuff like that, and it's no cost to them. It doesn't cost them more money to injection mold that part of the glove box area or whatever, the center console area of the Ram for that, but.
They got to make the molds anyway. They just make the molds with it in it. You're paying for the mold.
Exactly. Yep. So today, for those that are watching, there's a lot that's happened this week, and there's more that's going to happen this year. We kind of want to talk about Ram, and in a lot of ways, it almost feels like Ram's taking on everybody right now. If you just look at the hill they're trying to climb right now and get themselves out of, and in the full segments. And now they're going to jump into a potentially mid-sized truck. They're potentially going to have a electric truck, a hybrid plug-in electric, and they're shooting at so many different versions of vehicles. And now they're going to bring a TRX back, and then they're going to have the RHO still. And then it's just wild. And I thought that it'd be good for us to talk about, we've owned now, this is your second Ram, right? Is this your second Ram?
This is my third Ram, if you count back in the, I had one other Ram 1500 way back in the day.
Yep.
But yeah, so third Ram and sixth Jeep, so 9 total Ram and
9
Jeep.
Chrysler. Yep. Okay. Yep. So Jason and I arguably probably would call ourselves Ford guys. We've owned more Ford than anything, not because it's we really have had a preference. I think it's more matched our lifestyles more than anything, type of hunting and how we use our trucks and whatnot, especially for me in the Raptor. That's pretty much owned it for the last 15 years or whatever.
And it's a perfect family truck, man. It's hard to beat a F-150 for a family.
Sure is.
The flat floor in the back end. They were, I love, that's what I said, I owned 8 of them in 16 years raising kids,
I think what's wild to me is I come from a unique background. Not a lot of YouTubers have the type of background where I spent 20 years in the automotive industry working as an engineer and then working in sales for supply base and working with the OEM manufacturers, tier 1s, tier 2s, and seeing the inner workings of the value chain of the automotive industry, and then thinking, I'm an automotive enthusiast myself. Jason and I use our trucks and our vehicles for what their intended purposes are. Jason doesn't just go get a power wagon just to cruise around the mall and pick up Starbucks. This dude's in the swamps every single day with this thing. And I'm jumping my RHO, Raptor, whatever it is. And so it's fun coming from that perspective and then thinking about the design and the challenges in the market of how they design these vehicles. And then I would say the other part of it is now thinking we're both in Ram trucks. And I think that says a lot because this has been a market that Dodge, Ram, whatever you want to call them, Ford, these guys have been competing for almost 100 years or 80 years, whatever it is. And the fact that Ram went from this little dog to, in a lot of ways, almost class leading. It's wild to watch, but I'll tell you what, they almost threw it away a few years ago, and now they're pulling out.
They're also they're still not, they're making a lot of mistakes still.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of any of these things, it still boils down 100% to the fact that the best way to say it is any vehicle today that has a VIN number is a ticking time bomb. And these manufacturers, they're all of them. Every single brand, their quality control is gone. Their problems are gone. Their supplier issues are a problem. Everything boils down to, every vehicle on a lot on every brand. This one might last 200,000 miles. This one might have 30 problems in the first 10,000 miles. You don't know what you're getting into. And Ram is not immune to that. The thing that I like about Ram a lot is that they're, they just, they offer so many options for everybody, and they do it well price-wise.
Right. Let's start with that right there. So you just got your Ram, what, about a month ago?
Yeah, 2 months ago. A little less than 6 weeks ago. I got 4,200 miles on it right now.
So you could tell everybody kind of if they're following and they don't follow either of our channels, as far as this topic, why you went with the Ram, why you went with that model, what other versions did you look at? And then I'll kind of talk about why I went with the RHO.
All right. Well, I was in a Gladiator. When I moved down to Georgia, things were different when I was in Michigan. Michigan was a lot of maintained power lines, some, simpler stuff. It wasn't really, I didn't have to push too super hard to hunt and get into remote places there. Even in northern Michigan and up in the UP, it wasn't that complicated. And I could get by there pretty good. When I moved to Georgia, I realized I needed more truck. Well, I gravitated to a Toyota because, the Toyota Tacoma's lightweight for the mud. And I bought a 22 Tacoma. Loved it, but I hated the fact that I got to be in 4-low to use my locker. It was impossible to engage the locker. It was exhaustingly upsetting, so I got rid of it, and I got a Gladiator. And I bought that Gladiator Rubicon. I loved it. That vehicle has been incredible. It let me get into some of the craziest places. It's just insane what it does, especially down here in the swamps and in the mud and, the flood zones where you're driving through half mile of water that's 30 inches deep, and you don't even know if there's washouts. So the thing was just a beast. When I was going to get rid of it here, I'd like to get another Gladiator, but I did not want to have 3 Gladiators in a row. I thought I got this one. I remember I'm a high mile driver. I mean, I'm doing 35 to 40,000 miles a year. So I had 60,000 miles on it. It's like, okay, I'm going to get rid of this and buy something else. I didn't want to buy another Gladiator because I want to buy the next Gladiator. What I mean is the last generation. So in 28, I would like to buy another Gladiator because by then everything will be completely worked out. Not that it's already done, but the last year of a generation is always the best one. And I don't know what the next generation Gladiator will be like. And I love the one that's here. So I thought, all right, I know I want to buy that one. Let's not buy 3 in a row. I don't want to buy. So yeah. I thought we'll mix it up with something. I looked at the Tremor, the 250 Tremor. I looked at the 250 Tremor. I looked at the 1500 Warlock. I looked at the 1500 the F-150, not as a Tremor, but looked at it actually, believe it or not, Barry, I don't know if I told you about this, but I looked at it as getting an STX FX4 or STX with a rear locker and then adding the Torsen front diff to it from the factory.
Wow.
And having the dealers install it would have been about $3,000, would have basically gave me a poor man's Tremor.
Wow.
And so I looked at those 2 options and the Warlock and the F-250 Tremor, and the Power Wagon. Now, the thing about my Power Wagon, it's not a real full-size Power Wagon. I can't afford an $85,000 truck or a $75,000 truck or even a $70,000 truck. Fortunately, Ram offers these lower trim levels. Like the Warlock is basically a Rebel in a tradesman trim, where the Rebel is a Rebel in a Laramie trim. You see kind of thing how it goes. Well, they make the Power Wagon, which is basically a Power Wagon in a Laramie trim. They also make a Power Wagon tradesman package, which is what I bought, which saves $20,000 over the price of the Power Wagon. I give up the leather and some of the fanciness inside, but I get basically same thing as a Power Wagon for, $20,000 less.
Yeah. And you're really chasing the function of that thing. You just want the lockers and everything.
And I've never been a high trim guy. I've never cared about that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you tell me all the time, why don't you review these on the road and how they drive? Because I don't care how they drive. And my opinion's irrelevant because, or how does this work on the dash and this digital? This has this blue cruise. I don't even know how to use adaptive cruise, let alone blue cruise.
I want to get back to that. I'm going to answer a few questions. This Matt Dillaback, I'm going to start here. He says, have you guys had a chance to check carbon buildup on a Hurricane? So Jason's got the 6.4, so he doesn't have the Hurricane. Right. But I do have the Hurricane, and I have not checked it. But I can tell you in 12,000 miles, the way this performance is and whatnot, I've got no concerns there. It is a direct injection engine, but no reason for concern yet. And I'll tell you, I've owned a bunch of DI boosted engines. I mean, we've got one with 75,000 miles right now, and it's still good. And we've not done a catch can or anything. I don't think it's a bad idea to do, but we just haven't done that. Then let's see this other question. How do the Ram trucks compare to your current Ford lineup? We're going to get to that. This is all part of where Jason's going with this. 9,000 miles, not a single issue. Yes, I'm at 12,000. It's for the most part been pretty good. Let's see what another question. I've heard the Ram is going to 86. The Rev, not sure what that is. If true, I hope they continue with. Oh, maybe that means just like end it.
EV.
To be fair, Brock, I got a video posting tomorrow actually talking about the Ram Charger. I got to see a bunch of these things in person. That's all I'm going to say. There's more to come on this. I'm trying like heck to get in front of these Ram Charger because I truly think of all the trucks in the industry, this is the game changer that everybody's been wanting. And I'm so excited about this. I'm more excited about this Ram Charger than RHO. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I think that the value that can bring to a lot of people for fuel economy and towing and day-to-day, as long as they price it right and as long as it's reliable, it'll be a home run. So we'll get back to that. Express, any idea when the Express will be hitting the lots? I can tell you this. I've already seen a bunch of 2026 Ram 1500s on the lot. And you know how you can tell? When you look at the hood and it says 1500 for 2025 model year, it would say SST, or it would say HO, I think is what it would say, or it would say E-Torque. For 2026, it says Hurricane. It doesn't say SST anymore. I've seen a ton of them. So I'm being told Expresses are going to be hitting the lots soon. I'm still waiting to hear when the Hemis are coming.
Hemi production starts August 16th is when Hemi production starts.
Good. This right here, I know, Jay, this is going to be you. Looking forward to an HD Ram Warlock. I think a ton of people are. This is a home run truck.
You know what? And I get a lot of comments when I put the video out about this of people saying, I wouldn't buy one. It's not a power wagon. It's not, or I wouldn't buy one because it's not a Rebel. And you know what? Rebel's a great truck and a power wagon's a great truck. But when you put an MSRP on a HD truck with rear limited slip, 20-inch wheels, a factory lift and Bilsteins in all four corners and skid plates, and good quality aggressive tires, and you put this thing out there with an MSRP of 57, which means street price somewhere in the upper 40s.
Yeah.
How can you argue with that?
I agree.
I mean,
what
an incredible
here's
truck.
The reality. How many people go and buy a Power Wagon, a RHO, a Raptor, any of these trucks and use them to their full off-road capability often? I bet you not 5% of the owners do. You're probably one of the few owners that take a Power Wagon and actually utilize its full functionality multiple days a week.
Right. Yeah. And most people don't. And I mean, it's the same thing. Like, look at for example, you do a video on a Jeep Wrangler 392 and 99% of the people that drive one don't even take it in the woods.
Exactly.
In the dirt.
Yeah, for sure.
Your Raptor, what was it? Ford? Remember I think it was you telling me a couple gens ago. So a little while, years ago, but I think it was you that was telling me that Ford tracks, the statistics, the parameters of these vehicles, and it was something like only 10% of Raptors were ever put into 4 high.
Yeah.
During that whatever year, it was like 2021 or something, but it was like 10% of them were actually ever engaged during that whole entire year in 4 high. It was really crazy number.
Yep.
They show that these things are not being used. Yours jumping sand dunes with it, and yours is roaring. It's 6,000 RPM all the time with your wife and kids screaming, and they're having a time of their life. It's being used the way it should.
So is it Dario or Dario? Said, I got the 2025 RHO and never use it off-roading. Dude, yep. I get it, man. I mean, we're just fortunate where we live. We get the opportunity to do this often, and it's just a bit of a enjoyment. That's why we got these trucks. But what's fun about driving these trucks, specifically like the RHO, is, man, it's a super premium interior, and it's got a real street presence. It's got good gearing for performance on the street. It's a blast. And
it looks tough as nails.
It looks tough.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with buying one and not taking it.
Exactly. Yeah, you'll break less stuff and whatnot, and keep them looking nicer that way for sure. So this Christopher cycle, give me a 2026 Ram 1500 with the 392 SRT engine, and I'd be as happy as can be. Dude, Christopher, 1000% agree. This is the truck Ram needs to make. You don't even need to make it an RHO. Just make it a standard Ram 1500. And if you want it, maybe like a Rebel, maybe with a little like 1-inch lift or something. But I personally, even though I like the RHO for what it is and its capability, I sort of think the whole off-road truck thing, for the majority of people, they're kind of like, I'm not going to say over it. I don't know your thoughts on this, Jay, but like, I don't know. I think most people would prefer more of a street truck that's 4-wheel drive. You get better handling on the road, because like you've driven Raptors and RHOs, they got the kind of like body roll, and they're not the most ideal driver on the street, and they're huge.
Yep. And well, for example, too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a tungsten or a limited with a high output RHO or a high output Hurricane is actually faster than the RHO is, or anything like that too. Yeah, so you're talking a serious sport truck, and like you said, not only tune suspension, adjustable air suspension, all the stuff like that comes with it. I don't think RHO, does that have adjustable air suspension?
No. So I got a chance to look inside the tungsten, and I thought the RHO is like the super nice truck. I still think it is. Then you see the inside of a tungsten, and you're like, are you kidding me? This thing is an Escalade of pickup trucks. The interior is insane. The headrests, the flooring, and the cool thing I like about the non-RHO versions is you can put them in 2-wheel drive. I think that's phenomenal. You can do 2-wheel drive on the RHO, and it's kind of annoying, to be fair. But another question: Warlock versus Express, similar price and even a Bighorn. Let's see, for only a few $1,000s more, makes it a tricky decision. Don't disagree.
I don't want to say I disagree, but I would say, you're looking at two completely different things. That's like, that's literally like saying, do I buy a Porsche 911 or do I buy a Toyota 4Runner? You're kind of two different worlds there. That Express is going to be a much more street oriented. It's going to be a much more firm suspension, better quartering, street tires, big wheels that are nice and look really good. Got a nice, a city type appearance to it, and the capabilities for that and the gearing for that. Where that Warlock is going to be, it's going to be 18-inch rims. It's going to be all meaty tires. They're going to roar as you're going down the road. Suspension is going to be wallowy because it's an off-road tuned suspension. You got a little bit of a lift on it. So you're looking at two completely different worlds. Sorry, my phone's vibrating. I don't know what's going on. It's like
I thought you were going after a fly there for a second.
No, it keeps going rant. So that Warlock is a different kind of world as far as the ride. So my advice would be drive both, because it sounds like you like the looks of both of them, and more than what they actually do. Drive them both, and I don't mean like just get in it and take it around the block at the dealer. Get it up to 70 miles an hour on the highway.
Yeah, for sure.
And also drive it around and do hit some of those subdivision roads or something where you got to turn right, turn left. Feel them and see what you think, because they're a different world.
So I can't speak to the Warlock. I will just add this little piece. My understanding is the Warlock and Express are like a trim level above like the tradesman, but they sport it up in different ways. Like the Express gets the painted bumpers, nicer rims, and a little bit nicer things inside, but it's still based off of like the tradesman. Whereas the Warlock takes the same approach, but they more go an off-road style versus street. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Express is a street version of a tradesman, dressed up mainly on the outside. And the Warlock is the off-road version. The Warlock is a Rebel in a tradesman trim, is what a Warlock is.
Got it. Good to know. Okay. That's good to know. So we got lots of good questions coming here. So I can see Brock here. Let's see. Any idea when Ram will make the next product announcement? I am told, well, technically, if we want to say, there was a pretty big leak in the last 24 hours around the TRX. I just had a video post here a few hours ago. So they've already announced basically at the leadership level that the TRX is coming back first half of 2026. They have not said if it's going to be a 27 model year brought forward or a late 26 model year, but the TRX is coming out and there will still be the RHO. I currently own an F-150 trimmer and don't come close to using its full capability. Yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing. I mean, these trucks, even an FX4, you can do a lot of off-road capability with one of those trucks. It's wildly, and a trimmer is even more than that. So here's a good question, and the timing of this is great from Brock. So JB just made a video. This would have been good to talk to him about this because him and I have some great conversations about this whole situations with the emissions and all this stuff. Everybody's talking about this. So Trump is challenging the EPA, and I think there's going to be plans of rolling back some of the emission standards. For you guys that have, this is a really not soft spot, but this is a real close to the heart spot for me because I spent almost 20 years of my career working in the automotive industry tied to the after treatment and exhaust system world, specifically around meeting emissions on gas and diesel vehicles. I never in my life thought I would see emission standards going backwards. This is wild. There's pros and cons I see to the whole thing. I think the whole emission standards, generally speaking, is my opinion. I'm all about like making the air cleaner and doing good things, but I think they've went to the point of diminishing returns, and it's stupid. Once you get to 99% of the emissions removed, and now you're going to go and add an extra $4,000 in content per vehicle to make it go from 99% to 99.9%. It's silly. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of energy. And I've been in meetings with higher ups and they've said the same thing, but you're fighting the US government. And so seeing some of this stuff coming is in ways welcoming, because my hope is if they can relax some of these standards, and I'm not saying just rolling coal out of your tailpipe from the factory, not that. I'm just saying we don't need to go in ways into this next generation of emission standards where they're going to have heated catalyst in the exhaust system. You're going to have 24-volt electrical systems because you can't get enough wattage for an electric heater in your exhaust system in a diesel truck to meet emissions. And you might say that's crazy. This is the emissions on class, I think it's class 6. Yeah, it's like class 6 up to class 8 trucks and diesel trucks today, over the road, on road, all that jazz. These guys have this, and this was coming down. This is coming down to the class 1 to class 3 trucks, which is your 150, 250, 350s. And so if they can get rid of this stuff, I think it'll be good because it'll reduce the cost of the vehicle or just not increase the cost of the vehicle. And the biggest thing I think that why we're all frustrated as car vehicles or car buyers is reliability has just been in the trash for years now. I mean, Jason and I, we've both owned Cummins diesels, and we both said, JB said, and Rocky Road, we've all said the same thing. Would we own a modern diesel? And we'd all probably say, probably not, because have we had big problems? Not really. But it's when you do have it, it's going to be some pain in the butt where you're broken down on the side of the road or you're missing a big trip across the country. I just rather not deal with it. And so the email rule about emission standards for trucks and manufacturers start producing trucks without DEF, I don't think that per se is going to happen. What I'm hearing in the industry that's going to probably happen is this next regulation. It was going to start taking place in like 28, 30. 29, because it was a progressive ruling. Every year it jumped up with reduction in NOx and stuff like that. Was this is where you're going to start running into 24-volt electrical systems and all kinds of chaos. It sounds like that has the potential to not make it to vehicle regulation. It's a moving target right now, and it's not been changed. I can tell you that right now. If you went and talked to Ford, General Motors, or Chrysler, and they're designing a car for 2029 today, nothing's changed, guys. They're still on the course of action of the plan of the last 2 years, but it looks like it will change. So I don't think we'll ever see diesel engines without DEF. And I know this is a controversial topic, and I don't want to belabor this point, but believe it or not, guys, DEF in general, you want it. And I'll tell you why. When they started adding DEF to diesel engines, even though it's a total pain in the butt and I can't stand it, they increased the fuel economy like 10 to 20% because you could run the engines more lean, which produces more nitric oxides, better fuel economy, more performance. It was a big step up in performance and fuel economy, but then you added the DEF bull crap, which is annoying. Got to fill it up. The injectors plug, heaters go bad, sensors. It sucks. I totally get it. I've had a lot of diesels with it. So I understand. I just don't think we'll probably see that come into production. That's just my perspective. Sorry, long-winded.
But perfect.
I'm curious what you think, Jay. You think that'll happen, or what do you think?
My personal opinion is that they got two-part battle. One is that remember, they're not designing cars. They're not in there designing 2027s right now. They're designing 2030, 20, they're way out as they're putting this stuff together. So they got to not only take into consideration what laws are changing right now and what they want to do, but also what the next administration does, what's coming up, where are they going to turn things back around? How they got to, these auto manufacturers got to try and somehow figure out what the way to go is on the stuff that they're producing or they're designing now that will be available in the next presidential term, versus what it is now and what can change then and how that'll be. And so I really don't know what's going to happen. And I had that comment twice already today. What do you think is going to happen with them just announcing this? We don't know nothing until it's official. And then when we do, even when it is official, if you like what you're hearing, buy right now because buy it right then because you don't know what's going to happen, 6 months later. Yeah,
the goal is it's got to make it a law. Once it can make it the law, they can change the regulations. You can say, hey, we're going to relax this, but it's gotta truly make it into the manufacturers. But so I see a question here. I have a 2025 limited with the AWE. Diablo Sport, truly a beast. Oh yeah, for sure. With that JP4 Diablo Sport beast mode, sport mode. Yes, that's an awesome setup. It's insane how fast these Hurricanes can get. And I tell you right now, I am so excited. I know the TRX is coming back and I'm excited for that too and all this fun stuff. I can't wait for what the tuners are going to do this Hurricane. I'm telling you, this is the motor that is going to be a beast for years to come. And I believe it more and more, especially what's happened in the last week or two that someone's cracked HP Tuners cracked the code to the 2021 and newer Ford EcoBoost. Guys are taking the 3-liter EcoBoost in the Bronco Raptor and the Ford Explorer ST with intakes, tuning, E85, and I think some like mild turbocharger upgrades, stock motor, 650 horsepower at the wheel. That's more than a TRX with a pulley and a tune at the wheels. That's just absolutely wild. So I cannot wait when that technology makes it to the Hurricane.
Yep.
This Chris Brennan. Chris, I think you might have commented on a video earlier. I know you've been struggling, I believe, with some issues with your RHO. This is like a fresh topic about this 98 mile per hour thing. Jay, have you heard about this whole thing on the Rams? So there's been a lot of other channels talking about this as well. So there's been some people that are getting these RHOs. I can't remember if it's 2025s. I'm sure someone in the comments will educate me on this, or if it's the new 26s, but they're getting some sort of update and their trucks won't go above 98 miles an hour.
They're hitting a rev limiter.
No, it's not a rev limiter. It's like a governor.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I
because the trucks used to be able to do like 118, 120, because you think a truck of that speed, it's going to hit the quarter mile in 110 mile per hour or something like that. Right. At a 98 mile an hour limiter, if you bought a new Ram RHO, you'd hit the governor before you hit the quarter mile line.
Right.
So that's a little bit annoying. And so 2025 posted from a factory 118. Yes. So I did a video on this the other day and I show the picture on the Ram website versus 2025 versus 2026. I'll put a link in the description, but basically it shows on the website, it shows all these performance characteristics. It says 540 horsepower, 118 mile per hour, quarter mile in this time, 0 to 60. For 2026, they changed the the 118 mile an hour or whatever, and it says 35-inch true off-road tires.
Because now they got it governed at 98. It's got to be some kind of lawsuit. There's got to be something happening here.
Something going on, man.
All these nannies. It's like Toyota with the 4 low or the locker on only 4 low. Nannies, because of lawsuits and crap like that. You get so tired of dealing with it.
Well, so Chris is saying I've got mine to 103 when I first got it. Now it's 98 miles an hour.
So it's an update.
Dude, wow.
It's an over-the-year update.
This is interesting, and it's going to be real interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. I don't get many opportunities to get up to those speeds, even off road. So it's a non-issue for me, but I could see people that are going out west and got some big open roads for off road. Man, some of those trails I could totally see. I mean, you could hit 100 mile an hour, no problem. I mean, so it's a bummer. I'll tell you right now. And you guys know, if you watch my channel, I'm a huge RHO fan. I've been preaching this to the choir because I think when I put my hard-earned money of the value of this truck, I think it's phenomenal. With that being said, man, competition's not sitting back. With what Toyota and these leaked photos just happened today, dude, if Toyota enters the game in the 1500 Tundra space of trying to compete with the Raptor, get ready.
Hold on, hold that thought. We'll come right back to that. But you made me think of something. So imagine what's going to happen if the TRX, the 26 TRX, comes out and it's got a 98 mile gov limiter.
Oh, dude, no. People will lose their mind.
Right. But okay, so if the TRX comes out and it's not governed at 98, what happens to the RHO guys?
100%. You can't do it.
Yeah.
It's crap. So they can't limit this. So I'm thinking, this is my theory on this thing, just to keep everybody calm, cool, and collected. I don't think this is going to be I think this is some silly accidental thing that happened, and it's going to be corrected. I don't see this being like, hey guys, you're screwed with your RHO. It's 98 mile an hour. I don't think this sounds like some silly decision that just slipped through a bureaucratic crack at Stellantis. And someone's like, oh crap, this was supposed to be a 1, not a 0 in this code. And then that's it. That's my guess. And because like you said, if a TRX comes out with 700 horsepower and you go 98 mile an hour, I would be pissed.
The lawsuits alone.
Oh,
and like
yeah,
I said,
for sure.
If the TRX isn't governed and the RHO is, lawsuits.
100%.
Like I said, they'll get crushed with this.
100%. And they're going to have to answer this quick. I feel like we're almost watching like the Epstein thing. You can't hide from this.
Right. All right. Now, but I didn't mean to cut you off on your Raptor eating Tundra. So,
man, this is awesome. I just posted this like just before this went live, but the new, let's see if I can find it just to show a picture of this thing. But basically there's a truck running around. See if I can find this, where I've got it on my home screen here. Recent. Where's this at? Documents.desktop. There we go. Let's see if I can show this. Ah, dang it. How do I go about this? Sorry, guys. I'm still learning on this program here. Let's see. Present, share screen, window. There we go. Let's see if this works. Can you guys see?
I don't see it yet.
There we go. Here we go. Add to stage. Boom.
There you go.
All right. So this is not to switch gears and go from Ram to Toyota, but this is a big deal because this is going to put the pressure on Ram. But basically, this is potentially a new TRD Pro. You can tell this thing's got, some big suspension, awesome axles. Let's see if I got some rear photos of this thing. Big wide body fenders. It's just incredible. And so what we don't know a whole lot, to be fair. But this just all took place today. And I got a full video on it. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time on that. But yeah.
Yep. I'll be excited to see what this thing comes up with and what they do. But keep this in mind. Toyota owns the supercharged world here. I mean, with the Tundras, and look at they did, what was that, 10, 12 years ago? Look at how you could get that supercharger for the Tundra and what you could run with that thing and how well that could do. I mean, that thing was a beast. It's worth looking up. But I mean, they could definitely, Toyota's not dumb. They could put something out there. It could be good. My only fear is that the lockers will only work in 4-low and you won't be able to get it into 4-low.
My fear is, Jay, is it's going to be 430 horse. Not that that's terrible,
right?
But it's not going to be a 450 to 540 horse.
Right.
And that's not going to be a full suspension articulation like an RHO or Raptor. And they're going to like put wheel spacers on this thing to make it like wide or something.
Just offset, like on the new Tacoma, they're just going to offset the wheels and call it a wider stance.
Yeah, exactly.
No longer control arms.
Yeah, because the issue is the Toyota, I know there's a lot of people like them, and that's cool. I don't have a problem with them. It's just they're not cheap, man. Toyotas are freaking expensive, and the dealership experience is tough. So I guess we'll find out. But I'll tell you, for me right now, just like Chris Brennan right here talking to us right here, no, not just reliability, is that I think this is the biggest thing right now. Is that people more so than like want affordability, they want reliability, and people are just pissed about this, and I get it, because it's not like these are $20,000 vehicles. These are $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 trucks.
And we proved we're paying for them. We're buying them. Why can't you just treat us right? Why can't you make them right? Give us a little bit of respect, make parts available for them. How about just reciprocating and treating us like good people sometimes, rather than, just a check? I mean, we're dealing with your stupid high interest rates. We're dealing with your stupid high prices, your chintzy plastics, your cheesy technology that fails. We're here with you. Just treat us right.
Not to go down this avenue, but I feel like it'd be interesting. Why do you think that's all happening? Because the manufacturers can't really control interest rates. That's all really kind of controlled at a much higher level in Federal Reserve and interest rates borrowing. But why do you think this is happening? I'm just curious your perspective.
The big ones, the part back orders are getting out of hand. That's ridiculous. The suppliers are a big problem. I think most of our reliability issues for every vehicle today is actually not on the manufacturer. I think it's on the suppliers. I think since the pandemic happened, nobody works anymore. Work ethic is gone. People's interest in jobs is gone. The pride of work is gone. And I think on every single level, people are just like, oh, I don't care. I'll let it slide through. They'll never see it when it leaves here. Not my problem. And I think that carries over. And so you can't tell if something's out of tolerance in a crank when it's sitting in a parts bin or in a dunnage container. You don't know that, and you build the thing and you don't know what's happening. So suppliers, I think, are the biggest problem. I think the other problem is that
I want to add to that though, Jay. Do you think it's suppliers are the problem? I'm gonna play old devil's advocate. Or do you think it's the spec the manufacturer gave the supplier and they're building to that spec and then they're getting blamed for it? And the reason I mention this is think back 20 years ago on the Ford Super Duty when they had the 6-liter Power Stroke. And this was like a disaster right at the beginning. And it was this big battle between International and Ford. Ford's blaming International. International's blaming Ford. Fast forward a few years, Ford wanted to up the horsepower to go after the new Duramax engine that was coming out. And in order to up the horsepower and still meet emissions, they had to put too much heat into their EGR coolers, and it overpowered the capability. You know who the manufacturer of the EGR cooler was? International. They got blamed for this. While last minute, I was told Ford kind of like pushed them in the aspect of saying, you have to go to this supplier because it saves us costs, and he directed International. But International was on the hook for the reliability. They got blamed in that whole thing, but they were building to spec. So sometimes, especially you and I, we've seen this in the travel trailer world. You go buy a Keystone travel trailer, or Grand Design, or Flagstaff, doesn't matter. And you buy this thing and the tire blows on it or the air conditioner fails. The manufacturer takes no responsibility. They blame it on the supplier.
Yep. And I think there's definitely a problem. You're right. There is a back and forth between them. But the biggest problem, like I said, that I have is the fact that we're just not being treated right. Like I said, there's no reason today that when a truck goes down, that we're told at a dealership that we got to wait 3 to 4 weeks before you can even look at it.
Yeah.
And when it gets looked at, then we're told that the parts aren't going to be available for 3 to 4 to 5 months for a brake master cylinder or something that 10 years ago, I would run down to the Advanced Auto Parts or to Napa and grab one and throw it on myself that weekend. And like I said, today, they leave us hanging all the time. We're always left hanging. And then it's all the behind the scenes stuff. And they let their dealer networks get away with add-ons and nitrogen-filled tires for $500. Have you ever in your life, Barry, ever been to it? We're at dealerships all the time. Have you ever seen any dealer drain the air out of the tires and put more air back in them? I've never have. Have you ever seen a nitrogen tank at a car dealership?
Can't wrap my mind around that, to be honest.
Exactly. You know, and like I said, but these manufacturers let the dealers get away with them. And then you got Toyota that's like, they're independent. They're not my problem. We can't control. You can. If you're the one supplying the vehicles to them, tell them straighten up or get out, get it right or get gone,
I don't think a lot of people realize that the dealer is actually the largest customer for these manufacturers. We just happen to be the buyer from the dealer, but the dealer is actually the biggest customers for these OEMs. They're independent, like you said. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. And I just, like Chris wrote, accountability and providing customer service is so lost. And Chris, I couldn't agree more. It's like, I get so happy when I call a company and I've had an issue of some sort and I don't hear a robot or some AI voice on the phone. And it's Rebecca from Kansas City. And I'm like, oh, holy cow, I'm talking to a human. How are you doing today? This is great to hear from you. Thank you it's amazing to have someone like help you these days. You just want to embrace that. And I don't know what the fix is. I just know it's extremely frustrating. And I see it in every level of my life. You get a new dirt bike, problems. You get a new side-by-side, problems. You buy a new guitar, problems. You buy a new remote control car, problems. You buy a new travel trailer, problems. Dude, it doesn't matter. And from what I can tell, it doesn't matter where it's manufactured either. These issues seem to be happening everywhere.
Yep. And for the record, that was only like 1/100th of Barry's hobbies that he just mentioned. I told you early on, the guy said everything.
I added in the guitar because I'm like, I've never played a guitar, but I bet someone else does. Yeah. So which one of you guys will be the first to do? Man, Jay and me, we're all going to be shooting to get one of these bad boys as quick as possible.
It'll probably be you first because down where you are,
you got more of them.
Yeah, you got many more. I got like 4 dealerships within an hour of me, and they got any stock.
Or maybe probably JB or one of those guys out there. They seem to get some pretty cool stuff as well. And I know Rocky, he's got a good connection there as well. This Chris Brennan, I do have to say, Mark Dodge providing has been awesome. They're working with me. Yeah, Chris, that's been my experience too. I had a little scratch on a fender of my RHO and a fender flare when I got it. These guys were like, hey, we'll make it right. We'll ship one up, talk to the local dealer, see what they'll charge labor. We'll cover the whole thing. Yeah, I think that's where they're trying to be remote, but still helpful, which is awesome. And this is why I still think these guys are the future of dealership business models.
Yep. And I'm right there with you. I love Mark Dodge. That was where I bought my Power Wagon. Bought it because of you, Barry, when you bought yours there. And then I called them up after talking to you about them and was talking to them. I love what those guys are doing. Matter of fact, when I was there and I picked mine up, I specifically shot videos on that lot that here, right now my channel's riding a lot of that wave of the Power Wagon. So they're getting a lot of publicity from that. But here pretty soon, I'm actually going to start giving Mark Dodge a video every now and then. I'm going to start giving them a little 30 to 60 second ad plug, like we would do as a sponsor. I'm going to do it for free for them. I mean, I love what they do. And I want more of these companies to learn, these dealers to learn, hey, crap or get off the pot. This is how it's done. Your old way doesn't work no more. If you're not doing it this way, you're going out of business pretty soon, or you're going to have to change because people aren't buying your way no more.
Man, it's so funny. I'm not going to name this dealership, but the other day I was on the road for work traveling and I saw an RHO in their dealership lot. They also happen to have a Canyon Lake Ram 1500, which I wanted to see one of these in person. By the way, just a little plug, video is going live tomorrow. You get to see it. Nice. But they had a 26 RHO. I'm like, I want to go check this out because there's a few things I got my eye on. Did they change the drive modes? They do some little doodads. And I just go in. They don't know me. I don't know them. And I was like, hey, if I wanted to order an RHO, how would it work? what's the pricing? They don't know I have an RHO. And I'm like, how? I literally said this. I go, what are you guys doing under MSRP? They look at me like cross-eyed, like, have you lost your mind? And I was like, yeah, like, what would you guys do under MSRP? He's like, dude, we'd do MSRP. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. I don't say anything. And, you know, come to find out, he goes, if you want under MSRP, he goes, you got to go to those guys down at Mark Dodge and there's 3 other dealers. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm just kind of keeping my mouth shut. You know, I'm not saying a whole lot. And I was being respectful, but these guys are in denial, and they probably sold 2 RHOs, and Mark Dodge has probably sold 500 RHO. Right. Which team do you want to be part of in the future? I mean, it's just like, get with the program, guys. This is the game. Like, make it easy on customers. Don't be a pain in the butt. And this is why, this is my number 1 issue with Toyota. Their dealership process sucks. Yep. I can't stand the arrogance of like going to a dealership. They carry no inventory. You can't order anything. And then, just like I told you guys on the last video, we want to go see a Sequoia and TRD Sequoia, and they don't have one in. I call another dealership. They say they got one. And I asked the salesman, I said, yeah, I'd like to come take a look at it. He goes, oh, we don't have it yet, but it'll be in a few weeks. I think it's spoken for. He goes, let me call the guy that it's ordered for. I said, yeah, no problem. I just want to take a look at it. I just want to see what it looks like. That's all. I'm not going to buy it. Just want to look at it. He calls me back. He goes, hey, the guy said he doesn't want it. So if you're interested, do you want to put a deposit down? And I'm like, why would I put a deposit down to take a look at a toy? Well, he goes, you know, these things just move quick. And he goes, it's fully refundable. And I'm like, bro, I bought a lot of vehicles, and I've never had anybody tell me I need to put a deposit down to take a look at a vehicle. Are you kidding me?
Good thing you didn't have to test drive it.
Dude, yeah, what is it? You got to put $100 down, fill the tank up with gas, and wash it after a test drive? I mean, you kidding me? And so it's a cool vehicle, and I think Toyota makes some cool stuff. It's no knock on it. I just can't stand the arrogance in 2025 when there's other dealers that'll be like, dude, we'll go 10 grand under. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll give you free lifetime powertrain warranty, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of dealerships like that, and you can order whatever you want. I would love to see Toyota going back to ordering whatever you want.
There's 2 Toyota dealerships. Like I said, we've owned 3 Toyotas. I've called almost every, there's not as many Toyota dealers as there is everything else. So I think there's like 50. So I've probably called 38 of the 50 of them, or whatever it is in the country. There's not a lot. Realistically, but I'll tell you, Sarah in Bay City of Michigan, I bought my Tacoma there. They're a fantastic dealership. They were really good. I also, and then there is, Franklin right here. We bought my dad's minivan from, and Franklin and Statesboro, they were fantastic. They own a Chevy dealer there too, but they are really good people up there. So those are 2. Now the Sarah, it's been a few years since I've been there, back when I lived in Michigan, but they were fantastic. I don't remember what dealership we got my daughter's 2019 RAV4 from, but that's good that I don't remember, because if I did, I'd be ripping them apart.
You know, I got a feeling on Toyota dealerships in Michigan, and tell me if I'm wrong. Michigan is very centric around the big 3: Ford, General Motors, Chrysler. Right. You rarely see people buying Toyotas in Michigan, or even the Midwest for that regard. I'm convinced that in general, those dealerships have to try extra hard as Toyota. And I could be wrong, because I've never bought a Toyota, so I don't really know. But I feel like if you go to a Ford dealership or try to buy a Toyota in Michigan, would you say they work harder in Michigan to get your business than down south, or is that not accurate?
I don't know, because I didn't pay enough attention when I bought those up there. We got big problems down here in the South with it too, which is Southeast Toyota distributors. Okay, we have that area here. They're the port. So when you buy a $55,000 Tacoma from or Tundra from here, that's the sticker price, but then Southeast Toyota distributors support, they put on $5,000 worth of extra things, like $1,700 for Nitto tires and not giving you your stock ones.
Wow.
Blackout package, and they're charging you $129 for a screen protector. They're charging you $79 for a USB cord. And these are all mandatory. Now get this, ready? Every vehicle you buy, you get 2 free oil changes and tire rotations, right? Down here, Southeast Toyota Distributors charges you $700 for 2 oil changes, 2 tire rotations, and fabric care spray. Okay, so like I said, so there's every place is different, but down here in the South, Toyota is a tricky one in that
thing. No thanks.
Yeah, I see a ton more Toyotas from Kentucky down. I travel and hunt all over the country. Once you hit Kentucky down, there's a lot of Toyota. When you're Kentucky north, like Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, I don't see a lot of Toyota up there. You know,
I see a GM question. I want to get to this before we get back to Ram stuff. Let me see this. I have a 24 ZR2. It can never seem to get it 100% full when I fill it up. Have you had that issue with your ZR2?
I have not, but don't try. Give you an example of that. Sometimes these fuel gauges, they may not always be 100% spot on, and that's okay. Like even in my Ram, my Power Wagon, mine goes like if I watch it while I'm filling, it'll hit full, but then it'll still take like another 12 gallons or 8 gallons. It goes past full, but when I get to like quarter tank, it's almost ready. My fuel light comes on shortly.
It's not linear.
Exactly. So and you get these things, but remember this. Don't tap and keep going on the fuel thing because
it'll fill up the evap.
Yeah, you do. Once it shuts off, done. Yeah, don't keep trying to top it off. You're going to overflow fuel into that. And it's going to get into your charcoal canisters. Don't do it.
Bad deal. Yep. I've wrecked those before. Yep. Frank asks, looking to buy a new Ram soon. Can't decide between the RHO and another trim with a Hemi. Dang, that's a tough call. I think I would run the numbers and then ask yourself, do you need an off-road truck? Or would you rather have the comfort of a standard width truck? Do you have parking or situation where you need a smaller, more maneuverable truck? Highway driving on the fuel economy. If you drive 70, 80 on the highway, I bet that Hemi gets probably 3+ miles per gallon better, depending on the gearing, than an RHO. City driving and probably the opposite. RHO will be a little bit better. And do you want the sound of the V8? Are you keeping the thing 200,000 miles? Like, I play all these sort of things in. And also, I'm going to tell you guys this. This is probably going to, some people wouldn't agree with this, but that's okay. I don't buy into the whole thing that like turbos don't last in these gas trucks, because I've had 24 of them now and I've never had a turbo fail on any of these. And I've ran them 100,000 plus miles. Yep. So I don't buy this whole turbos fail. And even like people used to say this all the time when F-150 EcoBoost come out. Oh man, these EcoBoost, the turbos, blah, blah, blah. Now, we'll tell you the EcoBoost got issue with cam phasers and other things. But turbo issues, generally speaking, man, they're not that hard. Like we've changed turbos on the side of a 3.5 before, 2.7. You can do them right from the side of the truck. They're not that hard. They're $400 bucks. Yeah, they're 500 less than they're $500 just for a turbo. Add miscellaneous, $700 a side. It's not that bad, and you're gonna have to do it at what? 150, 200,000 miles. I think the biggest key to all these engines, I don't care if it's a V8, a V6, a 4-cylinder, a turbo diesel, don't go by the manufacturer's scheduled maintenance of oil changes. If you stretch it to 10,000 mile oil changes, I think you're going to have problems long term. I cut it about almost in half. I do 5,000, 6,000 max, run synthetic oil. If you got a boosted engine, I don't care if it's a gas or diesel. If you've been rural driving or highway driving, you put a crap ton of heat in those turbos. When you pull home, let the thing idle in the driveway for like a minute, just to let it cool down before you shut it off. That's my opinion. Even though they're still they're liquid cooled turbos now, so it's not like the days of the old diesel turbos where we had to do it all the time. But it doesn't matter. Let it idle down. Just get in the habit of it, and don't get in it and just run it and go. But as far as for Frank too, Frank, make sure if you haven't seen one and drove one yet, you have to understand the sheer size of an RHO. It's big. It is so different. And I don't mean it's the width alone is insane. So you got to understand that. I mean, when it comes to parking at Walmart, into parking it at the movies and going to a restaurant and fitting in your garage. Yes, it is a beast. Yep. I totally agree. You can fit 37s on it stock too. Just a side note, you can. It'll rub a little, and it just depends on how much you push it off road. But yeah, Scott just wrote, Hurricane's amazing. Dude, totally agree. I think this motor is phenomenal. It's the only issue I've got right now is what's around the Hurricane engine. It's not the Hurricane engine. It's not even the Ram truck per se. These electrical gremlins. It seems to be plaguing people. Fortunately, I've not been impacted, but lots of others have. And I think once they get this squared away, and it sounds like they already have a lot of it, but you hear about battery issues, you hear about this misfire issue, you hear about check engine lights, you hear about catalyst going bad, you hear about ADAS sensors going. I'm totally convinced This whole thing is tied to this main new wire harness infrastructure, and they're losing connectivity. I've already heard that the catalyst is melting because of the misfire, and this is all triggered by the one thing. So I think once they get that squared away, that'll be pretty solid.
Yeah.
So Jonathan's got a really, really interesting question. Do you think the Toyota dealers use quality of the product against the consumers? Whew, I absolutely do. I really do. And it's not just Toyota, to be fair. I think others are doing the same. Perfect example. So I did a video recently on the Maverick. I think the Maverick Hybrid is an awesome value little tiny truck for the money. It was. It's the prices went up.
20 grand.
It's 20 grand. Now it's 28 grand or whatever it is. With that being said, the pricing structure has gotten really interesting on the hybrid because the EcoBoost 2-liter EcoBoost used to be like $1,500 more than the hybrid. And then all of a sudden, 95% of the people want a hybrid Maverick. They don't want the 2-liter EcoBoost. I mean, you're buying a Maverick for one reason: fuel economy. It's budget. You're trying to save money. You're not trying to buy like a little race truck, 2-liter truck. Now it's flipped in 25. Now all of a sudden, the motor everybody wants, they've raised the price on it. You don't have any more capability. You don't have any better fuel economy, but now all of a sudden it's more money. I think the manufacturer uses the quality of the demand of that against the consumer, just like Toyota does.
And I also think that where he's coming from is I think he's also relating it to the stigma when you walk into it. When you used to walk into a Toyota dealership, you felt like, you know, on that lot, you were buying quality. You looked at a Toyota and you said, this is going to last me for the next 20 years and it's going to be flawless. And the dealers knew that and that kind of stuff. And now I think what he's getting at too is that these guys you're coming in here. We're Toyota. We're the best in the world. We build the highest quality stuff. We build out, so you don't get to negotiate with us. We are the top dog.
You know what we need to do? We need to get Car Guy online to have this exact topic, because he would make a full hour and a half on this topic, because I know he knows his Toyotas, and he would love this because I think he would say exactly that.
Yep. Yep.
The shoe, any idea when late availability for Serrano Green? No, but working on that. I need to see Serrano and Canyon Lake in person. You're going to love this, because the video that's posting tomorrow tied to this whole Ram charger and all this, I got to see 2 Canyon Lake Ram 1500s in person. I don't want to spill the beans on it, but I'm really glad I got to see it. It's polarizing. I don't know what to say. It's all about these pastel colors that everybody's been running the last 10 years. But here's what I would say. Someone made this comment to me earlier today about, what do you think about Canyon Lake? And they said, it's like, if you're familiar with Audi, and there used to be a color called Nardo Gray, and it was so awesome of a color. It doesn't have any flake in it, and it was a super cool gray. Imagine the gray was replaced with a light green. That is Canyon Lake in person. It's Nardo Gray with green.
Is that Serrano? Is that the one that you pay more for, or you don't? I know they got 2 greens coming out. One you pay for, one you don't.
Yeah, I think, let me see. I got the Ram 1500 build sheet. Let's see, 2026 build and price. I got all this stuff ready because I thought someone might have a good question like this.
Yeah, they got 2 green ones. One you're paying for, one's a free one.
Yeah, so Canyon Lake is free. You're right. It's $295. And Canyon, I would say, you know what? I should just share my screen here. Let me see. Let me do this real quick. Share screen, window, boom. Let me know if you can see. Hide. There we go. Okay, so this is, if you haven't seen it, this is Serrano green. It's like a dark green. I think it looks sweet. Almost like an army green. Looks gangster. Awesome. Dig it. I really like that a lot, to be fair. I think I actually like it more than the Canyon Lake. Canyon Lake is cool too. I don't mind it. I just starting to think I like that dark green a little bit more.
The Canyon's the free one?
Canyon is the free one. Yep. And then this is the other color they're waiting on. Molten Red, $245 option. And then all the rest are pretty similar. Oh, yeah, you do have this. No, Serrano green. And then Silver Zenith. This is the other new color. You know what I wish Ram would do? And I don't know why they don't do it. I want to get rid of the black on the rocker panel. Whoever thought putting black on the rocker panel of an off-road truck with the most scratchable color in the worst location of an off-road truck, they purely did it for the aesthetics. because functionally it's the worst color in the worst location and an off-road truck you could have. I just wish they get rid of it and just offer an option of just a straight silver, because I would prefer it more.
Yep.
Yep, this is it.
Good looking truck though, man.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, video pictures, they don't do them justice. If you don't get, I mean, you got to understand that RHO is wider than my Power Wagon. You know, literally, it makes my Power Wagon look like a rail car is what it looks like.
We got to compare the two here together at one point. Jay, I want to see this. So your Power Wagon, I don't think is the build site up yet where you can do the 25?
Not for
the tradesman.
Well, and they even removed the Power Wagon option from the 2025 tradesman.
Okay, because it used to be a $7,500 option, right?
$7,900 option.
No kidding.
And it was called the Power Wagon package, but you had to pick a 6.4, and you had to pick the crew cab, and you had to pick the 6.4 bed, the standard bed.
The 6.4 standard. So now you got to jump to, would you go to Bighorn, or does it just force you right to Power Wagon? Now
your only option, but in 2026, you can order a tradesman Power Wagon, but the 2026 ordering is not up yet for the HDs. But I had one guy comment saying he just ordered a 2026 tradesman with the Power Wagon package. He was able to. So it is available. It's just not out yet for us to see. Dealers have the dealer sheets, but it's not on the website yet.
So today, when we wanted to start this, the whole idea was we're going to talk about Ram versus everyone and why is Ram crushing it. Jason is talking about a perfect example of, like, right now, he just got his Power Wagon, and you can still build it, because I did confirm you can order. I talked to Anthony and Mark Dodge. You can order a tradesman 25 in the big a
Power Wagon package.
Power Wagon. It's just you can't build it on the website. The website's acting up. But people are acting, this is the value. It's the value what Ram is doing. Look at this. I mean, what other brand has all these options and everything in between, and then the Warlock and this and that, and then you've got stuff like this coming right around the corner. Like, this is the truck right here. When it makes it to production, it's the game changer. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait for this thing.
It's what every electric truck owner actually wants. I mean, we can't deal with, low mileage, and we can't deal with low payload and towing capabilities. And here, this is perfect. And they gave it a 3.6. You got a 3.6 Pentastar in there as a generator. How perfect. I mean, this is what people that want an EV pickup truck want right here.
I'll take it a step further. I don't want an EV pickup truck. I want the torque of an EV pickup truck, and this is going to have it. So I can't imagine having 610 pound-feet of torque available at any point in the throttle. I don't have to downshift. The towing experience with this thing is going to be phenomenal. And you're not going to have, like you said, that range anxiety of an electric vehicle. I mean, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, 14,000 pound towing, 2,600 pound payload, 690 miles of range, while you can still get 20 miles per gallon while the engine's on. Dude, if they release this thing and it's not a piece of crap and the pricing's good, they're going to crush it with this.
Yep. No, I think it's a absolutely brilliant design. It is what everybody's waiting for.
Yeah,
as far as in a truck world, it wants to go some sort of electrified version. This is the way it should be.
Yep. And I like that you never have to plug it in. You don't even have to deal with it. So when people ask, why is Ram versus everyone? No one else is doing this. Toyota, General Motors, Ford, nobody's doing this sort of stuff right now. No one has a version just like the Power Wagon, this Rubicon Wrangler of a HD pickup truck. Nobody has an RHO truck at the price of the RHO. I mean, $72,000 for a 540 horsepower truck. Dude, it's incredible.
And Ram is the one that they don't force you to go to the high end of stuff. Like, you want a tremor, you got to spend tremendous amounts of dollars to get a tremor. You want to, you got to go there. But Ram offers you, here's a Power Wagon for those that want to play in this level, but we also have a tradesman Power Wagon for those that don't. You want a Rebel and you want the power and the capability of the bad Rebel, you can, but if you don't have that much money, we'll give you a Warlock. Okay, they're meeting.
Trying to find something for everybody.
Yeah, where Chevy's like, you take the ZR2. Well, actually, Chevy does do pretty good with the Trail Boss as well. And Ford, I think Ram is the one that really kind of gives you so many different variations and something for everybody's price line, everybody's budget. You want a tungsten, buy a tungsten. You want a tradesman, buy a tradesman. Better yet, if you want a tradesman for you and a bighorn for your wife, you can get both of them for the same price as one tungsten.
I know. Well, and you know what's funny? The tungsten, there is not another truck in the market with the full range. No one else has an air suspension 1500. No one else has a 540 horsepower half-ton pickup truck. But also at the same extreme, no one else has a $43,000 Hemi base model four-wheel drive crew cab truck. They hit the full range there, the whole thing. I mean, they're literally trying to be everything to everybody. And I think it's awesome. And I know this is why there's a lot of people frustrated with electrical gremlins and stuff, especially RHO. Fortunately, I've been blessed. That's not been a problem with mine. I feel bad for people that are, but it's just it's a curve right now. And I think they're on the other side of this. It's just got to make it to production.
And look at the deals that Ram offers versus everybody else. Toyota doesn't deal for crap. Ford is just getting to be like Toyota and doesn't deal very good. Now, you still can. There are dealers that do, but a lot of dealers get that snotty attitude, you know. And then you have Chevy that deals better than both Toyota and Ford. And then you got Ram, who 20% off is like cakewalk easy 99% of the time. I mean, even your RHO is brand new truck. RHO, what percentage did you get? I mean, you were one of the first ones to get one, and you got a pretty serious chunk of money off on it. You know, like I said, Ram does that stuff where you got try getting a Ranger Raptor or Raptor R, you know, right now and see how that goes money-wise.
Yeah, I know, man. I mean, you could almost buy 2 RHOs for the price of one Raptor R. It's just wild. Raptor R is a sweet truck, don't get me wrong. But it really takes a real special person to spend that kind of money on one now. It's just the market has really went. Yeah, as far as interiors go, Ram has zero competition from other brands. Totally agree. And I'm serious. I'd say the biggest downside I've seen with Ram's interior is not so much the interior. It's more like, I don't know if I want to say the lagginess, or sometimes that the infotainment can feel a little clunky. And I've not seen this across the board. I've only seen it on some. Mine sometimes can be a little clunky, but I've heard this new August update that's going to be dropped over the air is supposed to fix a lot of this. That would be my biggest complaint, but the fit and finish, the build quality, and the durability of the Ram truck interior, second to none. And I just did a video on a 2022 Ram 1500 TRX with 77,000 miles. And I look at this interior, and honestly, Jay, dude, it looked just like mine. When I say just like mine, no surprise, right? It's just a newer version. I'm talking the fit and finish and durability. I didn't see a bunch of wear, and that's what impressed me. I didn't hear creaks and groans. I didn't hear any sloppiness in the doors, the buttons. Like, I was like, man, this is a testament to the interior. This is a pretty quality thing.
Love Ram interiors. I love Ram fit and finish. I love what Ram does. They're affordable. They give you a ton of options, and they build a solid truck.
Yep. So, Rocky was mentioning, I've seen some comments and I've seen some others about the 98 mile per hour thing. Will someone get fired? Probably. I mean, this is going to be a mess for sure. I'm sure Tim is fuming over there right now. They'll get it figured out because there's a lot of people talking about this now, and I know it's on the radar. So for sure, someone will get it there. Blocka 386. You think they will do the TRX? Yes. Got a video just posted a few hours ago. It's already been confirmed at the high level. Yes, it is going to happen first half of next year. Topic, the value for the money. The RHO is amazing. Truck is amazing. Just fix the damn speed limit. Yes. Yep, totally agree. Chris just wants to go fast, man. He's like Ricky Bobby. We got to get this guy out on a racetrack. Just let him rip the wheels off this thing.
Let it eat.
Yeah, let it eat. Yeah. No, I do think though, like if Ram offers a total crazy scenario, imagine having the 392 as an option in a 1500, and imagine a high output Hurricane in a 2500. And I know some people are like, dude, I never take a Hurricane in a 2500.
I'd sell mine and buy one with it in a heartbeat.
Dude,
I'd buy one with a standard output.
Yeah.
Hurricane.
Oh, totally. The motor just makes such good power. Like, I like the sound of the 5.7 Hemi, but performance and fuel economy, dude, I'll take the Hurricane all day long.
I got a 6.4. I got a 6.4, and I trade in a heartbeat for a standard output.
For standard output. Yeah. So there you go. There's a testament. Yeah. And I think it's like, how would you say? It's really hard unless someone's been in one. They're just so smooth. You've driven them. I mean, have you ever been in an engine that's so smooth?
It's an inline six. I mean,
Yeah.
people just don't understand the just there's the harmonic balancing, the fact that the torque comes in low, everything about them there, there's a reason that Cummins is Cummins,
Yep.
I mean, I love that motor. I will agree with many people. It does piss me off that we do not get a dipstick. And the reason I say that is because I am the guy that when I go I have a dealership change my oil, I check it to make sure that it's fresh oil. I check underneath to make sure they change the filter. I do this stuff. How do you do that on a Hurricane? I'd have to crack the drain plug and wait for a drop to come out. It's the only way I could do it, which is kind of upsetting.
So I heard something, and I'm trying to get a confirmation on this, but I heard a reason recently and I'm not an engine expert of how they're made. I know a tiny amount, but I heard of one of the reasons why they got rid of the dipstick was something due with the new style of oiling of how they can something with almost, I don't know if we call it pressurizing the lower end of the motor, but something about how they can distribute the oil on the bottom of the motor and the crank bearings with not having to worry about the interference of the pickup line. They can get more like an even oiling or something. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard this from a source of an engine builder that I was kind of like, well, that's interesting, because the other thing that made me think about is the way this engine runs from an oil PSI. It's not like many engines I've seen before. It runs in a lower PSI at lower RPMs. Like my Bronco 3-liter, at lower RPMs, it's like 21 to 25 PSI, just like the RHO. You give it more gas, you see it really ramp up to 50 real quick. Where the RHO, gradually, it'll max out at 50 PSI, but most of the time you're 35 PSI. I bet you your 6.4 probably sees 50 to 70 PSI all the time in oil. I don't know if you ever look or not, but
I never looked in there to see. I do know that it's a low pressure oil pump inside of there. It's not high pressure oil pump. And that's and I believe the reason they do that is because of the fact that it's 2,500. It's a work truck, so they know people are going to idle them. Yet on the same note, idling them is the worst thing you can do for the lifters. Even mine, when I'm out in the woods and stuff, if I'm taking a break and just chilling, I'm not gonna, if I come out of the swamp and I need to cool down in the air conditioning for 15 minutes, but I'm not leaving. Well, I don't just sit there and idle it. I'll work that throttle back and forth, and I'll go from 1.5 to 2,500. I'll modulate it. Yeah, keep those RPMs up because I don't want it idling. I don't want it sitting there at 600 or 700 RPM just idling away and very little oil pressure getting my lifters.
And I think that could be the same with anything. I've always been told with snowmobiles, dirt bikes, small engines, never keep it at a constant speed. Always modulate the throttle, because when you modulate, you can richen up the fuel and cool down the combustion cylinder. So maybe there's just something to that.
Yeah.
Todd, he said, I've been V8 in big blocks my whole life. After buying a Hurricane, I'd be hesitant to trade back. Don't disagree.
I think people, if they just drove them, you remember the old, is this a Pepsi or a Coke thing? Remember that?
I agree.
Why don't somebody go to a dealership and give them a Hemi 1500 and give them a Hurricane 1500? Totally. Don't tell them which one it is.
Yes.
They just drive it and come back and tell me if you want the red one or the blue one. And I promise you, they're all taking a Hurricane.
I will tell you something. There is an emotional response as an automotive enthusiast. Now, I don't know, I can't speak for someone that's not an automotive enthusiast or a woman, but I can speak for me. I've been an automotive enthusiast my entire life since a kid. There is something emotional about the sound of a V8 that can supersede your thoughts on performance. Like when I drove that TRX the other day, I'm like, dude, I got to turn my ears off. Don't listen, because the sound of this thing is amazing. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. But when I started feeling the performance of the TRX, it was strong, but it wasn't like lights out, like, oh my gosh, this will blow the doors off my RHO. But the sound, once you mix that sound with it, you'd feel like it's 50% faster.
Yeah.
But it's just not.
I hear the sound even in my Power Wagon with that 6.4, but you hear that grumble, and then I get in Tina's, her, as the commenters call it, the 4-cylinder sewing machine, and I get in that 2.7. But I'll tell you what, that 2.7 is it's fast, it's wicked, it screams along pretty good. I pass people smiling. Like I said, I'm right there with you.
And I think too, on the topic of Rams, if Ram was such a crappy truck, why would you see, I want to say 9 out of 10, but I'm going to go on the low end and say 7 out of 10 hotshot trucks on the highway that people put their livelihood. They don't care if they're spending 50 grand or $100,000 in this truck. They need reliability. Why do you see 7 out of 10, if not more, of the hotshot trucks towing stuff across the country in a Ram 3500 dually Cummins?
Yep. When I bought that 2019 Cummins, or that Ram, in the owner's manual, it said in there 3 out of every 4 diesel trucks on the road are Rams, are Cummins trucks.
Wow.
I said it's right like in the first 2 pages, like your introduction to the Cummins, the little extra pamphlet.
Yeah.
And it says 3 out of 4. Now this was 2019, but it said 3 out of 4 of every diesel truck on the road is a Cummins.
Yep. I see it all over, man. I've seen it all over the country. You and I have seen it. And as much hate as Ram gets on the 68 RFE transmission behind the Cummins, you had one and you put 90,000 miles on yours?
Yep, flawlessly towing across the country with a 8,000-pound travel trailer everywhere. I mean, and when
never
I
had a problem.
Across the country everywhere. Yep, and they haven't even used that trans since 2019 now. I don't think they use it anymore. It's a ZF 8-speed now. They don't even use it.
Exactly. So then, my 19 had 60,000 miles on it. It's still in the family friend. I actually got a video on it here soon because the thing looks so awesome. I think he's got 80,000 miles on it now. Still not one transmission issue with this thing. And yet I can think how many issues have I had with Ford 10 speeds and that under 80,000 miles? Yep. A few.
Yep. Yep. And I'm sorry, it's not, I'm thinking when I said that ZF, I'm thinking of the 6.4.
Eisen?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was thinking of the 6.4.
Yeah. Okay.
You're right. Eisen for the HD.
So what would it take for you to say, dude, I'm done with Ram. Screw this brand. I'm done. I'm moving on. What would happen?
I don't think it would ever happen, and I don't think I'd ever feel that way about Ford. I don't think I'd feel that way about any of them because, like I said, the way we are today, something goes wrong. I mean, I'm getting riddled right now from that last video I did on my personal choice, and people are like, "Oh, he had a Ford, or he had 2 Ford F-150s. One caught on fire, and the other one the trans locked up and left his wife stranded, and he still says they're okay." Yeah, I bought 4 more after that happened. Remember when my 09 caught on fire? Remember, and then it's like it can happen to any truck. Like I said, I had 8 of them, and then after those 2 trucks that happened to them, I bought 4 more F-150s that were pure flawless the entire time I owned them.
People don't want to hear this because it sucks if you're on the receiving end of this, but a lot of this is just good luck or bad luck. I hate to say this, and it's with all brands. Like, man, I just. Sadly, there's a lot of truth to this. Like I hear about some of these people with RHO issues, and man, I'm like, dude, I'm almost having like survivor's guilt. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, I feel bad. This dude's got a misfire. TRD John is having a few issues. I've not had any of those issues. And you feel bad. It's just the luck of the draw. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not a Ram thing. It's every brand. As an example, my 2010 Ford F-150 Raptor has arguably one of the worst engines, if we believe everything on the internet, the Ford ever made, the 5.4 liter 3-valve V8. This thing's got 190,000 miles on it. It's the original engine, original trans, original rear axle. Just had to fix the air conditioning. It finally got a leak on it. Dude, I just replaced the shocks at 160,000 miles, and they're supposed to be done every 50,000. Rebuilt. This is the worst engine Ford made, if you believe the internet. And this thing sounds, from a valve train perspective, no different than my RHO. It sounds that good. But to belabor Jason's point, Jason said the last year of an engine, most of the time, is the best engine. That was the 2010, and that was the last year of the 5.4, and that was a solid engine.
Yep, for sure. And in the reality today, if your vehicle, if you go out there, make sure the lighting's right, walk around by the driver's side, peek in right where the windshield meets the hood, and there's this number that's right on there. What do they call that thing? A VIN number. If it's got a VIN number, it might be a ticking time bomb.
Exactly. For sure. Yeah, 100%. It's and this is why I just made that video recently, which is totally counterproductive to what everybody would tell you right now. I made a video about the GM 6.2 liter, and I said this might be the best V8 today in the 2025 1500 trucks available. And I knew it'd piss some people off because they're like, oh my gosh, the recall on this motor, blah, blah, blah. It's the last year of the 6.2.
Yep.
Because
And
next
the
year it gets
power,
replaced.
look at the power it makes, and
Dude, the
look at what it
power.
does. And
Yeah, for sure.
you know, and then again, even though, you know, so what, it had a crank problem. Okay, so did Toyota, so does everybody. But and you know, and people are like, oh, the 5.3, the lifter issues. Look at the sheer number of them on the road.
100%.
You know, and people are like, well, look at how many F-150s they sell. No, I'm sorry, but GMC
and GM
puts
combined
out a whole bunch more 1500s than Ford does. You know,
I'm a big fan of the boosted engines, and I always will be, because I tow a lot and I like the performance. I like it's a miniature diesel engine, in my opinion. But the GM 6.2 liter is the best towing, fuel economy, and low end half-ton gas engine I've owned, hands down. When you start looking at this, and people say, well, a Ram 392, power-wise would stomp the 6.2, but it'd probably come at a 10 mile per gallon penalty. That would be the thing. Whereas this 6.2, it's kind of hitting everywhere. It does really well. And JB, did you see JB's video where he did the towing test of all his half tons, towing 10,000 pounds in Utah? Dude, the 6.2 destroyed like everything for performance and fuel economy. And he's at elevation. I've
only drove the 6.2 and a ZR2. And I straight up loved it. It was an amazing motor. I mean, it puts my 6.4 that I got in it. It makes it feel like a turd, you know?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't have a problem with V8s. They sound awesome. I just think we both got spoiled by that low end torque towing. And it's like, if you love hearing a V8 scream, it's a beautiful sound. But imagine hearing that sound for 8 hours straight, 6 hours straight towing. It gets
resonating off the front of a trailer.
Oh man, exactly. That's a good point. And you know, that's another thing that sucks about the Ram. When they got that dual exhaust coming out of the bumper, it hits the front of that trailer. Dude, she's so loud. Yeah.
Right back in your face. Yeah.
Yeah. We got blood always finds its level. The term VIN number actually makes sense, and modern nomenclature actually makes sense. Yep. Vehicle identification number. And that's funny you mentioned that, because the what is it called? The center door area, glove box door on the RHO, there's a badge that says RHO. And this is the funniest thing. So it says VIN and then number, and then it gives the VIN number of the vehicle. So people are like, dude, this is like, what do they call it? Redundancy. Vehicle identification number.
VIN number.
Yeah, they should have just removed the number, and they didn't change that for 26. Let's see. Love the 5.7 still, but the 5.30 Hurricane is superior, surpasses Hellcat. Yeah, I could totally believe that, and we're starting to see it with the JB4 and the, what is it, JB4 and Diablo tuning. I can't wait till when someone like HP Tuners cracks the code on this thing. Had an 07 F-150, finally sold it for the RHO, no issues. Yeah. Well, I hope for all you guys watching that, you know, whatever brand you choose, it's reliable for you. Sadly, I don't think any brand is without issues right now. I just literally, I mean, Toyota's always been this benchmark, no issues, and now they're struggling. Ford, what do they got, 90 recalls this year? Is it more than that at this point? I don't know. What's the number?
I just saw an article from Car and Driver. I got it screenshot. I haven't read it yet. It was one of those, I might want to read this, but it said something about Lincoln might have just put them at 100.
Wow.
The Lincoln recall, but I did not read it. I just saw this, you know, I saw the thing, screenshotted on my phone, said I'm going to save it and read it later. But it said something about Lincoln recall might have just hit 100.
So you got Toyota benchmark struggling, Ford struggling, General Motors, one of the most expensive recalls. And then Ram, they're struggling with, you know, the electrical demons right now. Wiring, exactly.
Well, we would take all of this we would tolerate it if when our car broke down or our truck broke down, we could just go to the dealer, they inspect it and check it out the next day, and they call us up and say, you need this part and this part. We ordered them. They'll be here Wednesday. We'll have it ready for you Thursday. We would tolerate this stuff. Now it's such a song and a dance and a hoop to jump through in weeks and weeks, and it's exhausting. And then they give you a rental. You think I can go tool around in the swamp and do what I do in a Prius or in a Chevy Trax, you know?
Yeah, and then they make it seem like you owe them one for getting a loaner for your car broke down that's brand new, and it's like, yeah, it's like it should be part of the course. Yeah, it's
And think about the contractors, or think about you, for example, your travel trailer. I don't have one anymore, but here you are. You're getting ready to go away for Labor Day weekend, and 3 days before your truck goes down,
dude,
they're going to give you a rental, and it's going to be a Chevy Trax or Ford Focus or whatever they give you. How are you going to take your family for that? You bought the truck to take you on this vacation, and now you're getting left hanging. It should be, if you drive an RHO. Your RHO goes down, they should be putting you in an RHO. Just like the guy, if he's in a single cab, 8-foot bed for work, you should be taking the ladder racks out of it and putting in a brand new one for him while he's got it as a loaner.
I'll tell you what, that's a great idea. If one of these brands could put in, do you remember that brand of snowmobile clothing back in the day? It was like, they had this warranty, they called it like the Bluebird warranty. Do you remember Motorfist?
Motorfist, yeah. The 10,000 year warranty, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they had the thing where it was called a Bluebird warranty, where if your snowmobile gear, the sleeve cuts off of it, and tomorrow's this Bluebird sky day where you're it's a great day to go snowmobiling, got a short season, and you don't want to be without gear. They will overnight you stuff so that you have stuff the next day, and you don't have to, you can send your stuff back when you have time, but they always want to make sure you are not without gear. I would love to see that, like Bluebird or Blue Sky warranty with these manufacturers. You buy a pickup truck and your truck has to go in for warranty. Give me a pickup truck because I might need that truck for truck stuff. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yep, I agree completely. And like I said, I'm not a big fan of government stuff getting involved. Obviously, look at they've done to the gas can, which, by the way, they're trying to roll back. But you know what? These manufacturers, they need some account. They need to get slapped in the face for this. No parts, long waits. They are contractually obligated for 3 years and 36 miles, which is weak as it is, to actually keep our vehicles on the road. If they can't get that done in a timely manner, and do that for us.
And this is where there's probably laws in place, and maybe someone knows this that's watching. There should be like rules or laws where if you build a manufacturer or a vehicle, you have to have X amount of supplier parts on standby in some warehouse, a percentage for every vehicle, for every component, because you could really get yourself in a jam. I'd love to see something like that holds them accountable.
Agree.
And
if they don't, they get fined.
Exactly.
And I don't care who gets the money, give it to the government. Just make it where somehow they can't get away with this.
Yeah. This Kevin Sopa, GM needs to get with the times and do dual port injection for the V8s. Help them. 6.2 is the best tow engine out of the V8. Totally agree. Kevin, I don't want to say a whole lot on this, but I think you're going to like what's coming out next year on the next Gen 6 V8s from General Motors.
General Motors 5.3 and a 6.2.
They're going away. Both motors are going away next year.
No, but aren't they? The new ones coming out are still a 5.3 and a 6.2. I thought. Really? I thought they were bringing the same 5.3 and a 6.2, but they were going to be 10% enhanced for fuel economy, 10% power. But I was under the impression they were still a 5.3 and a 6.2.
I've sworn to secrecy. I'm going to let someone else leak it first.
All right, nice. Insider info. I like it.
Yeah, what's coming out? So General Motors went and just, people don't even know this stuff behind the scenes, but General Motors did a lot of big flops in the last 3 years. They were actually going to replace their V8s by an inline 6-cylinder twin turbo, next generation technology, VCT. What do they call that? Where it's where the combustion ratio can change, variable combustion ratio. It was insane what kind of, I've heard, claptrap they had coming with this new engine, but it was going to be like a 500 horsepower, like a 3-liter 6-cylinder inline, like the RHO high output Hurricane. And Mary Barra scrapped the whole idea. She said, that's not all in. We're an EV company. We're scrapping this and we're sticking to V8s. Make V8 work. They spent billions developing this next generation of 2 engines. They had a standard output and high output coming. In the meantime, they said, well, we'll just come up with the next generation V8. And at the time, it was going to be like, dude, they're going to be so far behind Ford and Ram. And everybody else is going to have these boosted engines, and they're going to be just crushing GM on this next generation gas V8. Well, now with this new administration and everything, we're seeing things flip again, and we're seeing V8s come back. And now General Motors is going to be so well positioned a year from now across their lineup with these new engines. I think it it could do really well for them. And you never know what administration and who's coming in office and where things go, but it's going to be great for all car buyers, because now I think Ram is going to be forced to come up with a new V8. I don't see any way around it. The 5.7 is good motor, but it's past its age. The Ford 5-liter Coyote, not bad, but it needs a little more power. And so will we see Toyota bring a V8 back? I don't think so personally. I don't know your thoughts on that.
They still haven't put tow hooks on there, and we've been begging.
Exactly. So I think that we're going to see Ram probably reinvent, try to come up with a new modernized V8 here in the next few years, hopefully. But
so I wonder what that does for the 5.7 guys. So we got this lineup of people right now that are just begging. Again, my comments are overrun by them. You know, any full-size truck has to have a V8, and they're all fired up and excited for this Hemi to get here. So they're going to run out and buy this Hemi, and then watch Ram in 2027 gets rid of the Hemi again.
No, I don't think Ram will get rid of the Hemi. My prediction is the Hemi will be a cost neutral option in 2027. I think that they've made this where it's a $1,300 premium for the first 6 months, or maybe the whole 26 model year, but then they'll get their supply chains under control for 27 model year. And you could have a standard output or a 5.7 Hemi equal price. I think as more people get educated on the Hurricane, I think you'll see more people coming to actually wanting the Hurricane. And I believe it because look what Ford did. Dude, 75% of the F-150 sales are EcoBoost. 75%. Yeah. Only 25% is the Coyote V8.
Yep. Now, but what happens when, so you got a 3.6 Pentastar in the Ram, you got a 5.7 Hemi, and you have a Hurricane Standard, and you got a Hurricane RHO in the 1500 lineup. So if they're coming out with a new V8, something's going to have to give. Will it be the 5.7, or do you think they'll cut to 3.6 and get rid of it completely, put a 5.7 everywhere there is a 3.6 right now, and then make the new V8 a contender in there? Will they, or will they dump the 5.7? But they're not going to keep a 5.7 and another V8. Plus, they still got the 6.4 that I got, and that's in the HD lineup. But that's technically, it's almost your 392, version. I wonder how they'll work that.
Well, so as long as Cafe is intact, and who knows how long that happens, you still got fuel efficiency standards for your fleet average. True, as soon as the Ram Charger comes out, though, it can offset other vehicles coming out and help them in that area. So they're going to have some entry-level fleet engine for your rental cars, for low-cost vehicles, and the 3.6 gets there today. So could they? But then you think, compare yourself to the Turbo Max. Would you take a 3.6 or a Turbo Max in a Silverado?
I'd take a Turbo Max all day.
Me too, all day. Yep. That motor's awesome.
Yep.
So now you think that's your base motor you're up against. And then now you say you're up against the Ford F-150. What's the base motor? 2.7 EcoBoost. I'd take a 2.7 all day and twice on Saturday over the 3.6. No comparison. So if it was me, I'd just get rid of the 3.6. I really would. Not that it's bad, but I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense at that point if you're competition. I mean, Toyota's got 2 engines. I mean, General Motors has got Turbo Max, Duramax, 5.3, 6.2. They got 4. Ford's got 2.7, 3.5, 3.5 hybrid, and 5.0. They got 4. Ram would have standard output, high output,
5.7.
5.7. That's only 3, so they could keep it. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Very interesting to see what they're going to do. But now you got me all perked up because, like I said, I knew that the new Chevy engines were coming out, but I was expecting them to be, basically more updated and a new generation of the same things they had out there. Now you got me all interested.
Oh, dude, I've been wanting to spill the beans on this for like 3 years. I've been so excited. Kevin, what do you think Ford will do to combat? Man, this is the question that's been on my mind for a year now. What are they gonna do? Ford has a real easy answer, but they're fighting to make the real easy answer. Here's the easy answer. Put the Dark Horse 5.0, 500 horsepower in the F-150 Raptor.
Yep.
Lights out. Game's over. At that point, the RHO, everybody's going to want this Raptor. You can throw a Whipple on it, make 800 horse if you want. It's going to sound great. It's a good engine. That truck is the truck that most the owners would love to have. And even at that point, if Ram did come up with a 392 RHO, dude, I'm taking a Dark Horse 5.0 over that 392. No question.
And the price point.
So Ford is in a tough spot in my opinion, against RHO. I don't think they've ever had their back against the wall, and they created the space. I don't know what they're going to do because they're 10 grand more than the RHO, 100 horsepower less, not as nice of an interior. They don't have Blue Cruise in the F-150 Raptor. They don't have hand massaging seats. Like, how do you compete with Ram in this? I mean, that's a bad spot to be. And as soon as TRX comes out and it's got 720, 750 horse, and it's got hands-free driving, massaging seats, and the Raptor R doesn't have any of that.
And it'll have a price tag probably it'll come in at like 98. You know, it'll be like under 100 grand.
It'll be interesting. I don't know what Ram's going to do on this pricing with TRX. I mean, there's so many speculations. It could be 99. It could be 125. I think it's going to be based on the horsepower and what they do. If Ram went and said, we're throwing 37s on this and taking another level of suspension and making it awesome, I think they charge 140 for it and still get it. I really do believe that. But if they keep the same suspension as RHO, same 35s, they bump the horsepower 15 horse, I'd say 100 grand, in my opinion, tops is really the number to go for.
Yeah, to 99, you know, to hit that right underneath. Now, he also asked, where's GM and all this with the off-road trucks? I will say
ZR2.
GM is the only full-size truck available in the world today that has front and rear lockers.
That's true.
You know, nobody can touch it. You know,
you're 100% right. The ZR2 and AT4X, you have front and rear selectable lockers. Yeah, totally. But they need to do something. And I made a video about this, and I'm sure you did as well. There's spy photos already of the next generation 1500 running around on 35s, but it's not a wide body, and it looks like it's multi-matic suspension. So that's okay. It's probably not extended travel, but it might be good enough for those people that want like an off-road truck, but it's not a long travel truck. So
yeah, they could definitely use a Raptor TRX competitor.
Oh man, and they could do it. They could totally do it.
Yep. But I definitely see that's not my world. Like I said, I want the narrower, more slow. I want the capability of the articulation.
For sure.
Like I said, that, you know, the fact that Chevy offers a ZR2 version in the 1500, ZR2 version, you know, front and rear, they're the ones that started the whole front and rear locker craze too. When you think about it, with the original ZR2 that came out in 2018 or what, or no, when was that?
2017 or 18?
2016.
Okay.
But that was a game changer. And we wouldn't have Raptor R's, we would, you know, or the Ranger Raptor, we wouldn't have the full, you know, all this stuff is because of them. They did a good job.
100% agree. Yep. Totally agree. Yep. It's going to be fun to see like what happens. I think for the car buying audience, the next 12 months is going to be the most fun we've probably seen in 10, 15 years, because pricing competitiveness, we can already see the market's coming down some, not a ton, but it's coming down some, and more people are entering the game. If Toyota's getting into this off-road truck game, awesome. Ram's offering more options of lower level, $43,000, I think, or $44,000 is a 4-wheel drive crew cab Hemi 1500. That's incredible for 2025. Now Toyota getting into the game. If GM's bringing new engines with a ZR2 on 35s, man, it's going to be great.
And you can still today, right now, walk into a dealership and buy a Chevy 1500 Silverado with an amazing Turbo Max engine with a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and you can get this in a 4-wheel drive for in the $30,000 range.
Totally.
36, 38, 39,000.
You can get it today at Mark Dodge. Right. They had them the other day.
Yep.
So
I mean,
Todd,
like I said, you know, incredible times.
Incredible. Todd, hearing rumors the new TRX won't be a Super V8, but the Cat X Hurricane. I'll tell you, Todd, if I was, this is not going to be a popular opinion, but this is my theory. If you were truly all in on Hurricane, and this is Rams, they're going to ride it. I think it's a great engine. I agree. They should make an 800-900 horsepower higher end version of the Hurricane and make that the TRX, because then that just solidifies that we believe in the Hurricane. We think it's solid, and it would be better off-road. And actually, we're going to be doing a video soon. Jay, maybe we should do this together. There's another channel called Catch Me Off-Road, a Michigan channel. These guys do a lot of off-roading, and this guy's got a TRX. And I was talking to him today on the phone, and he's like, he loves his TRX. He's had 3 of them, but he goes, dude, the RHO is better off-road. He goes, it's lighter, and the way it builds torque and the things, he goes, it's actually a better performing engine off-road. And I would love if Ram went this route of just this Cat X Hurricane. I know some people want supercharged V8. I get it too. But if you buy into the whole Hurricane hype, man, a Cat X, 1,000 horsepower, 900 horse thing would be an animal.
And imagine what it would do, what that would say to everybody that has an SO and an HO.
Yes.
When you're like, okay, I have this and I'm at 400 and 500 horsepower, give or, with what you got. But here's the same engine, basically pumping out 1,000 and running this. If it can do that, mine's going to last forever. It gives that credibility.
Yeah. And I know it's possible because look what Ford did with their GT supercar. They came out with a $700,000 car. It didn't have a V8 in it.
Yep.
The old one had a supercharged V8. The new one had a 700 horse twin turbo 6-cylinder.
Yep.
And they've been running them for 8 years now. And those things bring $1.5 million.
There's one of them sitting right at Metter Ford at the dealership right here in the showroom. It's fenced off, but I walk by it every time I'm up there making videos. It is so
incredible. I would love one of those things. That's just awesome. Last question here. I just saw something here. Someone asked, Ram 2500 needs the 3.0 HO. Yeah, we just talked about that. It would be ridiculous. Yeah, I'd
give my 6.4 up in a heartbeat to get it through. And I don't even need it to be a HO. Like I said, the standard output's basically the same thing I got,
Actually, probably even more.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I'll tell you, for people that haven't driven standard output and high output, I can tell you standard day-to-day driving, I actually prefer the standard output over the high output because it builds better torque at lower RPMs. It's at that mid range where you're like really getting on it or really wanting to race. That's where the high output really shines. But lower RPMs, I take the standard output.
Which is what you want in the trucks I'm using.
Exactly. And even to be fair, even when I'm towing below 2,500 RPMs. Yeah. I actually think a standard output would actually have a little bit better low end torque curve than the high output in that scenario.
Right. You mean with your Hurricane, you're towing at 2,500 RPMs because you don't do that with a V8.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because a V8, you're going to be 3,500. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, any other thoughts before we sign off? This went a little longer than we were hoping.
No, I think it was very good. And I think it was nice because we were able to get into a lot of the comments here. Usually we get on our own tangents and running, and you did a really good job today of going, hey, let's look at his comments. Let's look at the comments and keeping them involved. So
good.
I think it was pretty perfect.
Guys, next week, Jay and I will be with the G4 podcast. We got some others joining. I think it's Tuesday night is the plan, and we are going to be talking about how to get a good deal, and we're calling it the art of the deal for how to get the best price on a vehicle, new or used. So definitely join in next Tuesday. It'll be fun. Our whole thing, Jay's whole deal, we spend all our time just trying to help people. The whole goal on what we're doing here is, do we enjoy this? Yes, but we're trying to help people. We're trying to educate people. We want you to get your best bang for the buck with your money. And that's what this is all about. And it's not just me. JB's the same way. Rocky's the same way. TRD John, Tim, we're all trying to help everybody right now get educated. And so tune in next Tuesday. We'll be doing this again.
Love it.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching.
See you guys.
See you, Jay.
See you, bud.